All right, we're going to just go ahead and dive right back. Let me see. We're going to go ahead and just dive right back into this. I had a series of phone calls that unfortunately there was nothing I could do. And people kept calling and they had a lot to say. So we'll continue the program on and pick up from where we left off at. I lost callers, lost viewers. Hopefully, folks understand that sometimes in rare cases, these kind of events can happen where something comes through and it literally chops the program. But we're back. Looking in the comments, as folks are being notified, we were asking is President Biden's image irreparable? After seeing what happened with Biden during the debate last Thursday with President Trump, the presidential debate, he's going to be getting interviewed by George Stephanopoulos this evening, interview in prime time. But does it matter how the interview goes? What we're asking is indeed, is Biden's image so tarnished that there's nothing he can do to bounce back from it? Suggesting that, his cognitive abilities looked awful during that debate. So we're asking, simply put, is it over with for Biden in terms of how folks view him? Now, I've had no shortage of viewers that have stated because they are so concerned with having President Trump back in the White House, they really don't care what Biden's cognitive mindset is. I mean, I had a viewer on just a moment ago that did agree with someone else that stated that even if Biden was walking in the middle of Fifth Avenue wearing a shitty diaper, crying for his mommy, they would still choose Biden over Trump. I've had folks say that. Bill Maher of HBO stated that he would vote for Biden over Trump even if they had Biden's head in a jar of blue liquid. Former Dallas Mavericks owner, Mark Cuban, also stated he wouldn't vote for Trump if Biden was on his deathbed receiving last rites. So there are plenty of folks that don't give a damn how much Biden stumbles, forgets things, no matter how old he sounds. Trump has really soured some voters. Thank you for those eyes. Wow, appreciate that. So we're going to continue the program on. By the way, I had a back-to-back business phone calls. I didn't have a choice in the matter, so I do apologize for those who were in the box. Program had to go down. I had to take phone calls, and they asked a lot of questions. So that's what delayed the program. No people will vote for him, no matter what. You're absolutely right. And there are some folks that are so turned off to Trump that have essentially become never Trumpers that it does not matter what Biden's state is. They're just not going to vote for Trump. Folks are going to bring up Agenda 47, Project 2025, January 6th, and a host of other statements Trump has made that is like, I don't care who is running against the guy. I'm not going to vote for those things to make sure that we get somebody in there that can speak. I mean, so that is what's going on. Let me go back to the box. Appreciate you folks that held on. We'll go straight to Julian. Good afternoon, Julian. Welcome to the program. So are you among that crowd that it doesn't matter what Biden's state is? You're not likely to vote for Trump?
Yeah, I am part of that crowd. Yes, sir.
So how do you feel voting for a guy that many would say that he's not likely to complete his 4 years?
Well, I look at it this way, right, man? I do understand the concerns with many people in the country about Joe Biden's mental state and about him completing his 4 years. I in the past couple of days, I've been one of those guys, right? I've been one of those guys. I'm more mad at the media, right? I'm more mad at the media right now. I got a couple points. I'll be quick.
Sure.
One, I'm more mad at the media for basically lying to me, right?
In what way? How did they lie?
I think they lie to me because they've told us that, Joe Biden is perfectly fine. He's as sharp as a knife. That he is not, that he has these cognitive tests.
The right wing media hasn't been lying like that. They've been telling you Biden is damn near dead.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, but you know what I mean. I look at both sides, and I think when I speak about the media, I'm only speaking towards the liberal media because you know what I mean. I am a liberal, so I never thought I was going to be one of those guys about the fake news because I think that's a disservice to our to journalists. I think that's very harmful to say that stuff. But I do believe that right now we've been lied to about how Joe Biden is, his mental state. That being said, when I vote for Joe Biden, I look at it this way. When I'm voting for Joe Biden, I'm not just voting for Joe Biden, right? I'm voting for his team, the people that come with Joe Biden, his advisors, his experts, his cabinet members, people that are experts in this field, right? Yeah. People that are in that field that are experts. I'm voting for those people. Those people have took us from what we were 4 years ago to having passed the most legislation in the 21st century, my man. He has passed so much legislation, bipartisan, with the very slim majority or slim minority in the House, right, or in Senate. He has passed a lot, which is going to do great things for the next 10, 15, 20 years, right?
But you raise a good point when you say that. I'm not voting for Biden, I'm voting for his team, because on the right, most folks voting for Trump are voting for him. I don't think they give a damn who the team is because Trump fired most of his team last time. So the right is voting for Trump. The left is not voting for Biden. They're doing what you're talking about. They're voting for democratic ideals and the team that surrounds Biden.
That's right. And then that too, man. So I look at it this way too, like, voting for his team, because like if you vote for Donald Trump and you vote for, let's say, his team, well, let's look at it. Who is his team, right? Let's, for example, if
we don't know.
Let's say, like, for example, like the EPA, right? Let's say, for example, the EPA, which, by the way, he wants to take out completely in Project 2025.
Right.
Let's say I need a new person to run the EPA. He's not gonna, a person who has common sense, a smart person would be like, hey, I'm going to put someone in who's an expert in like environmental studies, a person who went to college with the masters, you know what I mean? Someone that knows about the environment, protection laws and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. No, with Donald Trump, he's like, all right, I'm going to put in, let's say, someone who owns a bunch of casinos to run the EPA.
Well, you got Buttigieg under Biden running the Department of Transportation. I mean, do you think Pete Buttigieg, that's a position he's designed to do? That kind of happens on both sides, don't it?
That's true. But on that note, there's some people on Biden's team that, okay, they're not really super experts in that field, but at least they're intelligent people. They have degrees. You know what I'm saying? They're in politics. They're people that are in that field per se, right? Donald Trump's team is, let's say, he can have a billionaire who has a bunch of furniture stores go and run the Department of Justice. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Donald Trump is seeking loyalists and returning favors, so I do agree it's going to be a little bit different.
Yeah, so that, and then also, me personally, I believe that the best person who can beat Donald Trump, it's a fact. The person who can beat Donald Trump, is Biden. People are still going to vote for Biden no matter what it is, because I think more people are voting. And I voted for Biden because I like Biden. But people out here are voting. A lot of them are voting for Biden because they're voting against Trump.
Yeah. I think that if you take away the anti-Trump, the never-Trump voters away from Biden's total, it would be more than half.
Yeah. And let's just face it. How many people from Trump's previous administration have come out against the man, talking about he should never set foot in the White House, talking about, John Kelly, and many people, Mark Expert, you know what I mean? And many people, man. And not even that, though. But the fact of the matter is, if Trump gets elected, he already has a very conservative court. If he gets elected again, that Justice Alito, Justice Thomas is going to step down. You know what? I'm not going to step down if Biden comes in. But Trump's here. Let's step down now. Yeah. So they're going to fill that court and make it a MAGA court for the next 20, 30 years, my man. And that is scary.
Yeah.
That is scary for our civil rights. That is scary for social programs. That is scary for the BIPOC community. That is scary in so many ways, man. It's very scary.
I will say this. That's probably, because you're saying scary, it is probably a bit more concerning for even independents. That may say, listen, I'd rather go with Trump than Biden because Biden's cognitive abilities appear to be failing. However, I don't think many independents want the country to remain center-right for the next 20 to 40 years. So I do agree with you there that even if you don't like Biden, you do have to take in consideration what you said is almost certain to happen, that Alito being 74 and Clarence Thomas being 75 years of age. I do believe it would be pretty easy for Trump to convince them to step down for the good of the party and let him appoint somebody that's several decades younger. So if Trump gets elected again, he's already got 3 under his belt. He'll have 2 more Supreme Court picks. By the way, Roberts and Sotomayor are both 69. Not saying that they won't survive another term, but it's possible. I mean, everybody doesn't live to be 80. So it's possible he could get as many as 6 to 7 picks. So, yeah, even the independents are probably not going to favor a far-right America. So you make a point.
Yeah, and then a couple more things. So, and then also, I look at it this way, man. I know that things are scary. Things are very scary right now. Their concerns. I hear people's concerns, right? But worst case scenario. If Donald Trump gets elected, if he does, I believe it is very scary, but I believe if he gets elected, he's going to pass so much laws, he's going to do so many things that are so far right, extremists, that he's going to do so much damage to the country that the next time there's another presidential election, they're going to vote blue all the way, bro. It's going to be blue for the next 10 or 15 years after Donald Trump. So I think him being elected is not as bad as people make it seem. Yeah, it is scary. But let's look at it this way. If he does any kinds of damage or he passes all this right-wing extremist legislation, people are going to get mad about it. People are going to be like, man, he did, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but wait a minute. Even if you're correct and people vote blue, you're ignoring 2 things. First of all, if the Supreme Court is like 6 to 3 or 7 to 2, it's still going to be a right-wing America. Anything that goes to the courts is going to likely come out with a right-wing decision. However, many are suggesting when they bring up Project 2025 or Agenda 47 that if Trump wins, you may not be able to vote blue in 4 years or more, or your vote may not have the same strength anymore.
Yeah, that Project 2025 and Agenda 47, I've read through it, because, I hear all this thing on the right and left, and I'm like, all right, I'm going to take a look at it, right? And, man, it's scary. It is very, very scary. And, you can already see what's happening. The Supreme Court outlawed, basically, it's illegal to be homeless in Oregon or Washington?
God. Illegal to be homeless. So we're going to give you a home in jail.
Yeah, well, no, you know what I mean. Like they passed a law or something like that, where it's the laws in Oregon or something, something with the homeless, right? So I'm not quite exactly sure.
But that's a liberal area, though.
Yeah, true, but I mean, I don't know, man. I'm going to close with this though. So I do believe again. The concerns of people, it's true. I do hear people's concerns, and I do believe that Joe Biden looked very, very bad on the debate. He looked really good the next day. If you see him at that rally, he looked amazing.
Yeah, but it didn't matter. I mean, that's like striking out during the big game, and while you're at practice the next day, every swing is going into the stands. Doesn't matter. The game is over with now.
That's true. Yeah. So what I do believe is I think the biggest thing that Biden should do right now for the next 4, 5, 6 months, I think he should try to get out on the interviews. He should try to go on the media as much as he can to say, hey guys, I had a bad night. I'm okay. I'm fine. As much as he can, just go out there and say, I'm all right. Again, try to say something along the lines like, you know what? You're not voting just for me. You're voting for my team. You're voting for people who are experts in the field. You're voting for people who are supporting.
So you don't think he should step down?
What's that?
You don't think he should step down?
Me personally, at this point, if it was a little bit earlier in the year, I believe he absolutely should step down. I really do believe he should step. I mean, you know what? Let's say this. I do believe he should step down. I do. I do believe it. I do believe he should step down. I believe he should give someone else a chance to run. I think the only way that he could be replaced is by him stepping down, because he has all the delegates.
Yeah,
already.
he has. Yeah, he can't be forced to do it unless they.
Yeah, so I think he should step down. I think he should put his ego aside, and I think Jill Biden, or whatever her name is, Jill Biden, should be like, hey, you need to step down, because let's face it, Jill Biden, I think she's a little hungry to that power.
Yeah,
right
she's
now,
I believe she's the driving force behind why he hasn't stepped down. I believe, unlike Trump, Biden is willing to listen to his advisors, and one of those is his wife, obviously. I believe Jill Biden is enjoying being first lady, and probably one of the driving forces behind him not doing it. But I got to move it on there, Julian. Not stepping down. All right. Appreciate you coming on, man.
All right, man. Thanks, man.
All right. Now, I wanted to address a couple super chats on YouTube. Gabriel Reed and Gen Xer, certainly thank you kindly both. Gabriel says the only one that has a chance versus Trump is Andrew Cuomo. Andrew Cuomo would have a good chance if the damn liberals weren't constantly trashing him. All of this Me Too movement stuff has taken out a bunch of really good liberals. So Andrew Cuomo's biggest enemies are on his side of the fence. Obviously, what President Trump has admitted to and been found liable of is way worse than what Andrew Cuomo has been accused of. So the right don't care about this stuff. It's the liberals that trashed Andrew Cuomo. So I don't know. There's going to be too many feminists that would push back. So I don't know if I feel confident in that. Now, Gen Xer says Trump would smear Cuomo, but has a better chance. How can a guy that was found liable for rape smear somebody? I don't think Trump could go in that. Well, as I just stated, the right doesn't care about this stuff. So, yeah, maybe he could smear him in regards to the right. But the left believes Trump is worse, far worse than anything Andrew Cuomo did. So I don't know. I don't know how Trump could smear a guy who's been accused of sexual assault. I'd have to see that one happen. I mean, there's too much stuff in Trump's past to go out there and smear at somebody accused of sexual assault. However, during the 2016 debate, when Trump was running against Hillary Clinton, the DNC, the Democratic National Convention, Trump flew all of Bill Clinton's accusers and bought them front row seats. So he was trying to smear. Despite his own past, he was trying to do that. Looking in the comments, though, this is the second round. Biden already beat Trump once. Yeah, but this isn't the same Biden, Don. This isn't the same Biden we've seen in previous campaigns, previous years. I mean, he is really stumbling over words. By the way, he spoke in regards to independence yesterday, and he had another stumbling. Now, my last caller, before I go back to the box, my last caller stated to strengthen Biden's image, he should be constantly doing speeches and interviews to let people know he's got it all together. My humble opinion, I don't think he can. As I just pointed out, he did one yesterday, and he had to say, oh, never mind, because he was losing his train of thought. I don't think he can go out there and do speeches every day. Certainly knowing that people are paying more attention to how you say things than what you're actually saying, the pressure is going to be tremendous every time he's in public. I don't think he can. If I had that much pressure on me, hell, I'd stumble a few words. I really don't think they're going to bring him out. Ryan Sharkley, George Carlin for president. What a fucking circus. Shout out to the late George Carlin, great comedian, pulled no punches. Going back to the box, we'll keep it going. One of my subscribers, Makara, good afternoon. Welcome to the program. Also talking about what happened in the UK. Do you think that's a precursor of what can happen here, where the UK has now went left, blaming the conservative prime minister for trying to take the country down a path of isolationism and nationalism? Makara, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. How you doing, man?
Doing good. Good to have you back on.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's a great show again as usual.
Appreciate that.
It's not only that, right? Like we're looking at what I see in Biden is I mean, you hit it right on the nail, right? You hit it where he struck out in the big game.
Yeah.
And he looks good during practice, but did he even look good in practice this last time? right? He just said he was the first African American woman to be in the White House on a radio show, bro. That alone right there, after what he did at the debate, should be enough. That's just my opinion.
But I will say this, though. This because I brought this up earlier before I got interrupted with phone calls. People pointed out, they were, before the debate took place, Trump and many Trump supporters were talking about how awful it would be to host a debate on CNN and how much they lean left. And then you see the debate. By the way, folks, tap the screen. Get the likes up to about 25,700 almost of you in here. We had an interruption, so tap the screen, helps out the algorithm, brings in more MAGA. What I want to say is this, Makara. If CNN leans left, they would have did more to protect Biden. I think everybody realized Biden was looking awful during that debate. However, it's fairly clear that Trump was not being honest at all. He was saying, blaming Nancy Pelosi for January 6th and talking about afterbirth abortions. If the network wanted to go left, seeing how bad the left-wing candidate was struggling, they could have neutralized at least Biden was going to lose regardless, but they could have neutralized Trump a little bit by holding him accountable to some of his statements. They let him speak with impunity. So all of this, they lean left. They really did very well for Trump that night.
I thought the format was going to be a disaster for Trump, having two pretty liberal moderators on there, but the format with no crowd and having both of them speak, it actually worked out really well, right?
Yeah.
I looked up some of the lies that Trump said, and they were pretty bad, right? But it wasn't like Biden didn't lie either, right? He lied a lot too.
Well, you can't say the man is out of his mind and then expect him to tell the truth if he can barely even get a sentence out.
So if he can't even lie, which politicians are notorious for, should he even be our president? Should he even be running? And the guy earlier, Julian, he was pretty nice, but another thing is they keep on talking about Trump's team. If it wasn't for COVID, I looked over the man's accomplishments, and the man had a lot of good legislation before COVID happened, right? And you're trying to set a precedent whenever you look at COVID, and no one else had to deal with COVID. Do we have any, like I said this before to you, do we have any other examples where we look at other presidents and say, how did they handle this situation?
Well, here's the problem, though. Biden got us out of COVID. So does Biden not get credit for that?
Biden gets partial credit for it.
Why only partial?
Well, he'll get partial credit for it, too, because the logistics from Warp Speed helped him out a lot. I mean, Trump did have a vaccine ready for him when he became president.
Okay. Well, but wait a minute. If you're going to say that Biden had a vaccine waiting for him when he became president, many are going to point out that Trump had a pandemic plan waiting for him when he became president. The Biden administration had laid out a whole plan on what to do because they were expecting some type of major event to take place, and Trump threw it away. So he also had something laying out for him.
So he had a plan, but you're not really, can he tell what's going to happen in the future? I know where you're coming from, right?
Yeah.
All I'm saying is the plan may or may not work, but we know one thing. According to some people, the vaccines were there for Biden when the virus came around.
Why would you say the plan may or may not have worked?
I'm just saying your plans, you want all your plans to work perfect. But let's say they had a plan ready for Trump before he became president. Great. He threw it out the door. Great. Maybe he had his own plan for it, right? Maybe he had his own thing. And then you know what? He actually had to deal with it in 2020.
Wait a minute. Hold on. The guy gets on television and says not the vaccine, but the virus will be gone by April. Clearly, he didn't have any plan to say something wild like that. He did not have a plan at all.
Yeah. Well, he didn't. Okay, let's say he didn't have a plan. Okay, right. Then I'll give him all the how do you say? I'll criticize him for that. Right. But did he have the vaccine ready? Did he do the logistics when the virus was here and we had no other choice? Right? Did he try to ban people from China from coming in? Was he trying something?
Yeah, he did that. He did that, and they called him a racist.
Do you not think he would have taken the worst kind of insults and the worst kind of he's a racist now? He he doesn't want Muslims here, and now he doesn't want Chinese people here.
Do you think he cares about any criticism he gets?
That's what I'm saying, man. I mean, I'm looking at this. Can a president really care about any criticism they get? So they can do. If they take every criticism personal, sometimes they can't do their job. What would they do if they say every time a president heard somebody say, "Hey, look, don't do the Affordable Health Care Act," like every Republican said to Obama, and he still did it, and he got criticized left and right for that.
Right.
Right?
Well, I will tell you right off the bat, it's a difference between doing what you believe is best for America and understanding, listen, some people are not going to like it, but at the end of the day, it's my job to protect America. Yeah, you're going to take criticism for that. But when you start talking about shithole cities and Sleepy Joe and Nervous Nancy, that doesn't help out America at all. And that's where a lot of his criticisms are coming from.
I mean, yeah, but, like the criticisms he says off the wall, I mean, there's good Trump and there's bad Trump, bro. I keep on telling you this. I said this last time. There's good Trump where he does say stuff that makes him look bad. But, I mean...
That's where it's coming from. That is where, I would tell you it is. If Trump did not, the bad Trump stuff you're talking about that has nothing to do with making America great, if that wasn't part of Trump, I think he'd be finishing up his second term.
I think, I do believe that, right? I do believe that. And I don't think like he gets a fair shake when it comes to COVID. I don't think he gets the fair shake. I think what he was trying to say, what I'm trying to say is like he doesn't get a fair shake on a lot of this stuff.
Why would you expect somebody? Why would you expect somebody that goes around insulting all sorts of people, saying the last president was born in Kenya? Why would you expect people to give him a fair shake? He's not giving other people a fair shake.
Yeah, I mean, but I think among us Republicans, I think that was pretty much. I think that was pretty much everybody's assessment of Obama, right? We all thought he was from Kenya.
They weren't saying it. It was only him. It started with Hillary Clinton, but she backed off. That was primarily Trump saying he was not born in this country. You didn't see many other Republican senators or governors. It was him.
And maybe, you just told me that, and I just remembered that Hillary Clinton did the same thing.
Right.
And it's okay to back off once you say it. I mean, what does that mean? Backing off means nothing. But like I said before, and I think you agree with me, there's good Trump and bad Trump. Good Trump, don't get me wrong, man. Good Trump can handle. I'll read out accomplishments right off the internet right now for you, and you would say that's excellent. And before COVID, but the words he says just rubs the people the wrong way.
Well, it's designed to rub people the wrong way. There's nothing positive that can ever come out of saying Baltimore's a shithole city. I mean, that's just meant to be flat out negative. I mean, if you say Bernie Sanders is crazy, there's nothing else to do with that other than view it as negative. It's meant to be that way. So therefore, all the Bernie Sanders supporters, now you're at odds with them. And he did that to person after person after person. I mean, none of that has anything to do with making America great, such as my war heroes don't get captured. There is no benefit to America in that statement at all, but a lot of POWs and families of KIAs suddenly were outraged by it.
Yeah, and you know what? Everything that happened the second election, I mean, Biden won because of that reason. But also, I don't think it affected his campaign the first time he got elected president.
I think he would have won maybe by more. There was a lot of people who didn't like Hillary Clinton. If he wasn't saying that stuff, because remember, at the time, Trump versus Clinton was two of the most unfavorable candidates in U.S. history. I think it's this race now. Trump's unfavorability is simply the crap coming out of his mouth. It's not his policies or any of that. He was well liked by even African Americans before he started saying all that wild stuff.
You know what's funny? Because it's two different ways, right? You got crap coming out of Trump where he's offending people, and then you got crap coming out of Biden, which no one understands, and they think he's not all there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I think the way I see it is what is that? I mean, I think the Democrats have given us two candidates in a row for president, and one actually beat our Republican. That tells you where we stand. I just think we need better candidates. I actually think RFK might be the best way to go here, man. And I don't think people really understand that because you know what? I think the news channels and the media, social media, all that want him out too, because I think he's Trump without the mouth. You know, I do. I think he's anti-establishment, anti-vaccine. You know, I really do. I don't see RFK as a Democrat. I see him as more independent than Bernie.
Yeah, I will tell you this: we're what 4 years out from the pandemic. The medical community overwhelmingly still favors the vaccine. I mean, overwhelmingly, they're still saying booster shots and all of that stuff. The Trump side of the aisle, certainly the QAnon and all that stuff, the medical community thinks some of that stuff is crazy. I mean, yeah, there are people who are unvaccinated and there's nothing wrong with them. But you got a lot of folks on the right that believe that folks that have been vaccinated are going to perish. The medical community think that stuff is insane. Yeah,
but you don't. I took the vaccine myself, right? And the doctor I had told me that I'm having trouble with my health now because of the vaccine. But then again, I don't know for sure, so I don't want to say, hey, it's a bad thing. But Trump, I mean, I don't know where we're going at with the vaccine, but what I'm trying to say is Trump did bring us the vaccine. He did. He put
and look how he brought it. Okay, you get, because he was on television saying, look, I got to shut everything down. Millions of people can die. And then he brings us a vaccine. He's like, well, you can take it if you want. You don't have. The messaging was awfully poor. It was mixed. I mean, if people are, why would you tell people, well, you have an option? I mean, why would you even talk like that? If you know people are dying, why have Fauci on television if you don't think he's accurate? Okay, my caller apparently had a call or something. We'll move it on. Apparently he dropped out. All right, and by the way, I wanted to answer a super chat from Gen X. Did anybody else see this? Gen X said that Biden came out on the 4th, which is yesterday, at his speech talking about Happy Thanksgiving. Now, you got laughing emojis after that, so I think you're being sarcastic. I think, because I haven't seen that. I have not seen that. Looking in the comments, though, you must be the other handsome liberal besides me, since Chill Out is back. Okay, we can have more than one of us, but I am the one that a lot of folks know. Tap the screen, get the likes up to 30,000. Chill Out is back. You got me laughing. Same on YouTube. Feel free to smash that like button. We don't block, ban, or censor anyone. This is how we run the program. Monday through Friday, 1 p.m. Central, God willing. Sometimes there's a few issues like today, but Monday through Friday, 1 p.m. Central is when the program originates. Weekdays, 1,300 hours, you can find us here. We don't block, ban, or censor anyone. We go left of Bernie Sanders to him having dinner with QAnon. Yeehaw! Alter Ego, appreciate that. Also, Tammy, earlier for that graphic, Tammy Green, thank you very much. So, looking in the comments, he told people not to take it even after he took it. And that's a good point, facts only. When Trump came up with the vaccine, he certainly wasn't promoting it very well at all. In fact, he was hesitant to even tell the American people that he was vaccinated. He kept that hidden for a while. So while he may have introduced something that he should be receiving credit for saving millions of lives, he can't because of how he treated it when it came out. He literally is responsible for bringing us the vaccine while also being responsible for why millions of Americans, particularly people that support him, thinks it's poison. So on both sides, he's literally on both sides of the issue. This will help you. This is poison. He's responsible for both sides of it. So it's a complicated issue. He didn't bring us the vaccine. He is not a doctor. I think you know what we mean here. Obama didn't kill bin Laden, but he gets credit for it. That's how it works. It happened under his watch. Oh, he didn't bring us the vaccine. He's not a doctor. His people booed him when he tried to promote it. Yeah. Because he didn't come out in the beginning with a clear message. You're coming out on TV with Fauci and you're at rallies at night saying that Fauci don't know what the hell he's talking about. I mean, you're just sending the public really, really mixed messages. You're not sending the public a unified message on what they should do during the pandemic. And that whole mindset still exists in the Republican Party till this day. Some folks are in favor of vaccinations in the Republican Party. Some are not. Some favor Dr. Fauci. Some don't. It's because the messaging from day one was awfully mixed. Going back to the box, Miami, I wanted to respond to you. Saw you in the comments, Miami Luxury. When I mentioned, not much at all. When I mentioned, I saw you in the comments. I mentioned that Trump told a lot of lies on CNN, and one of them was that Nancy Pelosi was responsible for January 6th. And your comment was, she's on video or whatever, taking responsibility for it.
Right.
Okay.
Did you see the video?
I haven't seen it, but I'm going to ask the obvious question. Since when does the right believe Nancy Pelosi? She's on video saying Trump lost the election. Are we going to go with that too?
Well, that was more of like a candid video. I don't think that was a biography. I think that she got caught up in that, saying exactly what happened.
There are candid videos of her suggesting she wanted to punch Trump in the face. You believe that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Of course she wants to punch Trump.
Right.
Yeah, she wants to kill Trump. I mean, come
So
on.
why would she want to punch him in the face?
She hates him.
No, she said that during January 6th. She felt he was responsible, and she was telling that to Mike Pence on the phone, telling that guy, you need to hide out and don't tell anybody where you're at.
Yeah, because she didn't allow the National Guard to come in. That's exactly why.
All right. Well, I'm just simply saying to hear folks on the right saying, "Well, Nancy Pelosi said it." See, like,
look, I'm not putting all the blame directly at her feet. I think Mario Bowser is also to blame. I think that Nancy is to blame. Personally,
Trump did. Wait. Trump said nothing for damn near 4 hours. Does he get any blame?
I mean, what do you mean? He didn't say anything.
The country is on television globally because people in other countries see our Capitol building being overran, which is showing the world we have a sign of weakness. And the president of the United States goes dead silent for 4 hours. That's okay.
I think that was 45 minutes of terrible history. And again, I think that there were bad people in that crowd. There were good people in that crowd. I don't think anybody should be breaking anything in the.
You didn't answer the question I talked about. The 4 hours of dead silence.
Yeah, I mean, look, 4 hours of dead silence. He told people to protest patriotically and peacefully.
4 hours of dead silence after telling people to go. After telling them to go peacefully and patriotically. 4 hours of dead silence. No accountability at all.
I mean, look, I think it's 4 hours. If it was, a week, 2 weeks, that would be a different story. But we're talking about 4 hours.
He has to get a week before.
But I'm making a point that it's 4 hours. I mean, 4 hours. I'm sure at one point his Secret Service detail probably had him locked up in something for at least a couple of hours. So that's what I'm saying. I think 4 hours. I think that's the least of our.
Everybody else is on time. Okay, I don't even know where to go with that. So you're saying 4 hours is not that bad then?
I mean, I don't think so. I mean, I really don't.
Okay. So and then when he comes up and actually speaks, he actually speaks favorably of the folks there. We love you. Go home. Since then, he's called it a love fest. He called it a good day. You listen to Trump, nothing bad happened on January 6th at all that day. You're okay with that.
There are some things that happen. Ashley Babbitt got shot, and she's dead. Right.
So, what about the Capitol Police? Aren't you the law and order party? What about I haven't heard Trump say anything.
But look, I mean, there's a lot of evidence to also show that a lot of the Capitol Police just walked a lot of these rioters in there.
Did any Capitol Police get beaten that day?
Maybe.
Why do you say maybe? You haven't seen any Capitol Police being armed.
I don't know if they were.
I'm asking you, have you seen any? Have you personally seen any footage of Capitol Police being armed?
Being armed?
Harmed with an H.
Harmed? No, I don't think so.
You didn't see anybody being pushed in the door and screaming with blood coming out of his mouth? You haven't seen that video?
I mean, maybe. Are you referring to a Capitol police officer being beaten, or?
I'm talking about a Capitol police officer being smashed between the door while MAGA was going heave-ho trying to crush their way in, crushing Capitol police officers. You did not see that video.
Maybe I have.
You would, so you don't really remember?
Honestly, I don't.
But you remember hearing Nancy Pelosi say she was responsible.
I mean, I just saw that video like literally a week ago. It just came out.
Have you seen any videos of Capitol police officers receiving bear spray to the face?
I think so. I think I have. I'm
You
sure.
think?
Yeah,
You think? But so you're not for sure.
I wouldn't put it past that it didn't happen. I'm not gonna disagree.
But you're not confident you've seen any
I'm
videos.
also saying that there were bad. Listen, are we not to say that there was no Antifa in there?
No, what I'm trying to do is find out what have you seen. You don't sound confident you see. Wait, hold on, no. I asked you, did you see any Capitol police officers being beaten? So far, everything I've asked you.
Listen, I'm sure I have.
No,
what I'm saying.
What are you sure you saw?
But you're referring to MAGA right now.
No.
Right?
I'm simply asking you, what are you for sure you saw happening to the police there that day?
I'm sure. Listen, I'm sure police officers got beat. I'm sure.
Give me an example. What did you see?
What did I see? I mean, I saw it all. I saw everything that you guys saw.
You just told me you're not. Give me an actual event of a police officer being beaten or harmed that you saw. Describe what you saw.
I've never seen a video of a police officer being beaten. I have seen some type of videos with a bloody faced officer, something along those lines, but I've never seen an actual video. I've maybe seen the videos of the entrance of the Capitol building where the police officer is kind of, I don't know, maybe in between where there was like a fire extinguisher, something along those lines. I don't remember.
How could you see this type of stuff and not remember? This is something that folks are holding Trump accountable for that's really hurting his chances of gaining more followers. You don't remember. This is stuff that you should never forget.
I don't think most people, I don't think the majority is holding him responsible for it, is what I'm trying to say.
Well, if they have the memory like you do, I can totally understand. You don't see. Did you see anybody getting beat with a flagpole?
Maybe. But
What is this, Joe Biden? You don't remember what you saw?
Handsome, this is what I'm trying to say, is that if it was MAGA, right?
I'm not asking you who it was. I'm asking you, did you see it happen?
But listen, those are important details, no?
Maybe it's not a detail. Maybe it's like it could. I'm asking you, did you see a cop getting beat with a flagpole? You can't say yes or no. It's maybe.
I think so. Yeah, I think I did.
So how do you know Trump is not responsible there today? Obviously, you don't remember what happened.
Well, because MAGA's the party of peace and love, baby. Come on.
All right, I don't know what else.
Come on, handsome. No, but seriously, you asked the question. I answered it for you.
Every question you answered, Miami, every question you answered was maybe. You didn't answer any questions. You gave a maybe as a response to everything I asked you.
I think.
You still saying I think. You're still saying I think right now.
Yeah, because
what do you know? Give me what you know.
What do I know?
Yes.
I know that January 6th was a fucked up day.
Then why does Trump call it a good day?
I mean, I don't know why. I think it was a fucked up day in history that a lot of innocent people got their lives ruined over, and a lot of people there was I forget the gentleman's name, but he committed suicide because he was looking at facing years where
you're admitting, even though you personally support Trump, even you're admitting it was a fucked up day. How do you think America views the fact that a lot of American voters are just like you? They believe that day was fucked up on all sides of the aisle, yet the president is saying it was a good day. Why? How could he have taken it so differently?
I'd have to see. I don't remember him saying that it was a good day. I'd have to see that clip.
You don't remember the Love Fest either?
Well, the Love Fest was way before that.
So what is he chopping the day in half and only pointing out the good portion of the day and ignoring all of the melee?
Well, no, if he said that it was a good day, I could only assume that he said it was a good day before the melee started.
Okay. Let me ask it to you this way. Now, you admitted in your opinion it was a fucked up day. Now, you're talking about it, maybe it was a good day before the protest, and I believe a lot of folks would agree with you that it was going fairly well before what happened. Have you heard Trump say anything negative about that day at all? You and a lot of other folks believe it certainly ended on a fucked up note. Have you heard Trump say anything negative about January 6th at all?
I mean, the only thing that I've heard him say is the people who were causing destruction, they should obviously be held responsible and accountable.
That ain't negative, though. That's just saying let justice work.
Yeah, okay, but in terms of negative, what do you want him to say?
How about it was a fucked up day? The same thing you just said.
Yeah, listen,
Wait, if Trump can call Black Lives Matter terrorists, why can't he use words like that for this?
I mean, look, I don't know, but I also, for me, it's not that big of a deal in terms of like, I'm not gonna put all my eggs in that basket and say, he's a terrible president because he's not denouncing that January 6th was a fucked up day. I personally think it was a fucked up day just because of the optics of how we look on the grand stage in the world. Just the way
they climbed on top of the damn building, took down the American flag, and put up the Trump flag. Is that not disrespectful to the flag?
But that's my point. I think that at the end of the day, we need to really identify who that was.
But you think that was Antifa with a Trump flag?
I can almost guarantee you there was Antifa with Trump flags.
Okay, all right. Then maybe the Antifa with Trump flags were actually MAGA. Keep in mind, Antifa stands for anti-fascist. You guys on the right refer to liberals as fascists. So Antifa really technically should be right-wingers.
No, they shouldn't.
Why not? They're anti-fascist.
Yeah, but they're anti-fascist, but we're actually real anti-fascists.
They're fake anti-fascists. What is a fake anti-fascist?
Yeah. They're the fake anti-fascists.
What denotes a fake anti-fascist?
That's it. They're just radicalized. I think ultimately here what we're talking about is there were just the way in the January 6th hearings when they brought in FBI director and they specifically asked them if they had undercovers dressed as MAGA, they wouldn't answer the question.
Okay. And so because they didn't answer the question, you automatically filled in the blank yourself?
No. But it's not, you're not basing it just off that answer. You're basing it off of what the Capitol Police were saying that day. You're basing it off of all the other video that you saw that day. I mean, When you put all of that together, it paints a much different picture. Now, if we were just saying that, sure, it was just MAGA, hitting cops with flagpoles, I would agree with you that then it was a really bad day for MAGA, but I don't think it was.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm just going to simply say it this way. I don't know if any of the January 6th folks that have been arrested that went to jail were citing that it wasn't me, it was Antifa. I don't think any of them. I mean, none of them are having a shaggy approach. It wasn't me. All of them are saying, look, Trump is why I did it. I thought Trump was telling us to come here. We're standing up for Trump. None of them folks are claiming to be Antifa. I mean, they actually are blaming Trump for it. Now, I get it. You're going to see Antifa, or some say Black Lives Matter, or whatever the hell was there. But I haven't seen any of the Republican senators or Republican Congress members that were actually there that day saying it was Antifa. By the way, has Trump himself ever stated that what happened on January 6th was at the hands of Antifa? Has he even did that?
I would never expect him to.
What? If he's calling it a good day.
Well, because listen, again, until it's proven, it's just another conspiracy theory, right?
So why would Antifa, let's say Antifa went and ruined the Trump event. Why would he then refer to that as a good day? Antifa ruined your event.
Well, hold on, but that happened in the second part of the day.
What is this?
That didn't happen right away.
So what is this, an Old and New Testament now?
Kind of, yeah.
All right. I got to move it on, Miami. You know it's always good talking to you. We don't agree on shit. Who gives a damn? Come back anytime.
You got it, my man.
All right. Moving the program, wow. And by the way, he's not the only one with that mindset. We do believe in letting folks speak. We don't have to agree. That's how it works. I'm certain I don't agree with anything my last caller said, but Miami's been on the program a few times. By the way, in the comments, Ryan Sharkley says YouTube censored. For you folks that are tuned in on YouTube, there's several hundred of you there too. Was my last caller censored? Because I haven't had a lot of censorship coming from YouTube. Get rid of this TikTok caller, conspiracy liar. I'm losing brain cells. It's all on videotape news. Okay. Oh my God. Been saying the same thing. Wink. They don't get the facts though. Yeah, I think the whole Antifa thing would at least be worthy of Trump coming out and saying it was Antifa. You had, I mean, what is McCarthy is the one that sent the video of folks being let in. He sent it to Tucker Carlson. Is McCarthy even accusing Antifa of being there? I mean, I haven't heard of any Republicans. That's taking the liberals out of the picture. I haven't even heard of any Republicans in Washington saying that that event was at the hands of Antifa. Everyone I've heard say that is mostly Trump supporters that were not there that day. Now, I'm sure there's some Trump supporters that were there that day that are saying it because they're claiming people were changing clothes and things like that. But how do you know they're Antifa? How do you know? I mean, it's not like they carry an Antifa badge or wear a uniform with Antifa written all over it like, you know, Prada or Gucci or something like that. How do you know they're Antifa? Anyhow, that was an interesting call. Let me go back to the box. That's one problem. They can't stick to one conspiracy, and that's what I'm hearing. Tucker Carlson was given 40,000 hours of footage and only showed one of, and that is true too. For folks who say that, well, look, they never showed the people being peacefully let in, and then you watch Tucker Carlson's clips and you want to say that shows it wasn't. Tucker Carlson clearly also did a selective edit or selective broadcasting on what came out. He didn't show everything. I mean, because Tucker Carlson's footage featured nobody breaking windows. All of the questions I asked my last caller about police being injured, Tucker Carlson's clips didn't cover none of that. None of that. So you want to say the liberals only showed you so much. He did the same thing in reverse. Moo, the tuxedo cat, Moo is doing his own thing now. Moo, I saw you on your live there. Good stuff.
Thanks, man. Now, so I don't go live very often, man, because I mean, look at the stuff people say. You know what I mean? Look at the shit your last caller just said, man. Like, you can still smell the gasoline from all the gaslighting. You know what I mean? It's crazy. So.
I like free speech, but yeah, we don't agree on anything with that last caller. But he's welcome on the program. So, what did he get wrong in your opinion?
Dude, I mean, what it is you just really need to stop lying to people, right? You need to stop gaslighting people, right? Because people know what they saw, and people have eyes, and they have ears, and we live in a time now where these people want to gaslight you because that's the only way they're going to complete their agenda, right? They can't tell you the truth, because if they tell you the truth is outrageous. That's why when you talk to these people, they're always mumbling, bumbling, stumbling, moving the goalposts, changing their points, right? Because they can't tell you the truth. They can't tell you what actually happened. It's Antifa, it's BLM, it's this person, it's that person. It's not, yeah, man, we were mad because we didn't get to overturn the election. And we're sorry sacks of shit that we're mad that Joe Biden won the election and we can't handle it. And we tried to overthrow the election.
So based on what
just like we did with Gore.
Well, we didn't do all that.
Oh, sure they did, man. You know, Roger Stone started a big old riot in the election office down in Florida. And because of that distraction, the Republicans were able to use the Supreme Court to stop the counting of undervotes. And that lost Gore the election because they knew the undervotes showed that Gore won Florida. And that's your election right there. That's what happened. Right, that's history.
Well, you pointed out, in your opinion, that MAGA couldn't take that Biden won the election. So what I want to ask you, simply put, is what happens if Biden wins again? Some believe he won't win, but if Biden was to win again, do you think there will be another January 6th-like event?
I mean, I don't know about that, but what will happen in society is status quo, right? Your lives won't change drastically. The majority of the middle class won't get really any good policies that help most of them. And your lives will continue to be status quo Republicans and Democrats will continue to take corporate donations, and that's how your lives are going to go because you keep voting for people who are corporatists.
Now the picture you just painted, that's if Biden wins. You're going to you're not going to get much for the middle class. They're going to continue taking corporate money. That's if Biden wins. What happens if Trump wins?
So if Trump wins, you have the same status quo, right? But you also have the potential for many of your government agencies to be torn down, like the IRS, the Department of Education. And you do have a chance at losing your election system because Trump did say he wants to be a dictator, you know? And again, he's the one saying these things. I'm not saying these things. And I have to believe people when they're talking to me, right? He's a presidential candidate. He's telling me what he wants to do. And people are now trying to gaslight you into thinking that Trump doesn't sign on with Project 2025, but he's already implemented parts of Project 2025 the last time he was president. He left the Paris Climate Accord. That's part of Project 2025. He repealed net neutrality. That's part of Project 2025. He reshaped national monuments, meaning he reduced the cap size of federal estate. He's selling off public lands. That's your lands. That's the people's land. He reinstated the Mexico City policy, and he increased military spending. And
Wait, what is the Mexico City policy?
The Mexico City policy, let's see what that, the executive order prevents taxpayer money from funding international groups involved in abortion and ending funding to the United Nations Population Fund. On January 23, 2017, in his first pro-life action, Trump signed an executive order reinstating the Mexico City policy. It's an anti-abortion policy.
Yeah, I can see why most
of that's telling you they're not going to do a federal abortion ban.
Yeah, I can see why most Americans would agree. You're talking about giving money to Mexico City so they can have abortions in their country. Is that what you're talking about?
The executive order prevents funding from international groups involved in abortion.
Oh, so funding us.
International groups who are involved in abortion in any way, whether it's us or someone else.
Okay. Oh. That's interesting because most of our allies, abortion is legal in their country.
So don't let people tell you they're not gonna, that Trump is only doing Project 47 and he's not part of 2025. All of the shit that I just read to you, you can see online. It's on heritage.org. You're promoting yourselves, Republicans. That's your think tank. It's coming from you.
So let me ask you this other quick. This is actually part of the topic of the show. And by the way, folks, tap the screen, 800 of you, and we can certainly get up to 50,000 likes after the interruption we had. So tap the screen, get the likes up. Same on YouTube. 75, if you will, to my YouTubers. Feel free to.
So understand. Look at John Hill in your chat, my dude. It doesn't mean it's right just because it's coming from you. It's coming from the Heritage Foundation. That's Trump's donors. That's who your homeboy listens to.
Okay, now what I wanted to ask you in regards to the UK going left, they cited Brexit as part of their country's failed economy. So they're starting to get rid of a lot of right-wing policies. Do you think that could be a precursor to what may happen here in November?
What happens here in November completely depends upon the election. I can't really predict that at this point. That's a very hard question for me to answer right now.
Okay, because in the UK, they were promoting nationalism and isolationism.
What I can tell you is a lot of countries are trying to get off the dollar as the world reserve currency. I can tell you that that's happening right now. That's a bad thing. That's going to hurt the economy a lot.
Yeah. Well, I mean, superpower status doesn't last forever.
Yeah, I mean, you guys need to realize because of the policies of the two parties over the last 50 fucking years, this is where we are at.
Yeah, but Moo, you are but Moo, you're far left progressive to say the least. And you believe that everybody should be entitled to housing, medical, food. You think the U.S. dollar would still be strong if we did that?
So I think that your dollar doesn't matter if you can't afford to fucking buy things, and that's what's happening right now. All I hear are Americans telling me they can't afford anything. So what does it matter how strong your dollar is if you have it and you can't use it for anything because you can't afford it? Because none of these people are taking care of corporate price gouging, right? Neither Trump or Biden is going to address this.
But I'm telling you, based on the vision of this country that you stated we should be headed towards, I don't think the U.S. dollar would be strong under that either.
I think you have a better chance of making the dollar stronger when people don't need to worry about where they're going to live, where they're going to get their food from, and what they're going to wear.
So just cradle to grave entitlements, housing, food.
Cradle to grave entitlement. So your guarantee right now from cradle to grave is nothing. You could end up homeless right now if you have a tragedy. Most Americans don't have $10,000 for their name, and most people don't have $500 even in an emergency. And that's the vast majority of people in your chat.
It's me too. But the thing about it is, though, if everybody is guaranteed housing, I believe you said as a right, housing as a right, food as a right, is education in there?
Yeah.
How much? How much education?
From all the way up to college, my dude, all the way up to higher. So, bro, what I'm saying is you're acting like free college didn't happen in this country before. You're acting like this is something radical that I'm saying. But the truth is the rich people took it away from you. That's who took it away from you. The same people who are buying off your politicians and want to make all the charter schools and want to privatize public schools so that only the rich children can afford to get educated in this country. That's what's happening to you. I know, because I can see it's what's happening.
I mean, I hear your point, but I just don't, because you mentioned the U.S. dollar beginning to become weaker. I believe with all of these entitlements you're suggesting, and by the way, I would do much better in a country like what you're portraying than the one we have now. But I don't believe the U.S. dollar would remain strong under that environment. I would take it any day, all day.
So given what I'm giving you, right? Given the things that you would have, do you need your dollar to be as strong as
that's the point I was going to make, is that if you're giving people all of this stuff.
Do you need it to be, though? Do you need it to be? Because you have a lot of the things that you used to have to struggle for and worry about. So what's the point in having the super strong dollar if you don't need to? Wouldn't you rather have less worries?
Yeah, but I don't know if America would maintain its strength.
My dude, see, when you say these things, right, and then I look at the government giving $30 billion to Israel, it doesn't carry a whole lot of weight to your argument. Honestly, because there's easily money for all these things. We can very easily make this happen. And the policies that we're doing, giving subsidies to big corporations, funding huge wars, that's the real reason we don't have these things.
Let me tell you why.
The argument about the strength of the dollar is kind of silly because we already have the money to do these things. We just choose not to do them.
Here's where I think you and I differ. You're mentioning giving money to other countries and all this other stuff we spend money on. That's not just giving money away. Giving me school, a house, healthcare, that's giving money away. When they give money to Israel, that shit is an actual investment. They get returns on that.
No. It's not an investment because Israel doesn't do anything for us. In order to get an investment, you need a return on it, right? All Israel has ever done is get us into wars. Netanyahu is the reason we went into Iraq.
And that's the point I'm making.
Who told us to go into Iraq, and then we spent billions of our tax dollars on a war that did nothing for us. That's not a return on investment, my dude.
You said all Israel has ever done is got us into war, and we went into Iraq.
Yeah,
exactly.
Right.
That was the goal, is to get into Iraq, destabilizing.
That created ISIS, and then we spent billions.
You're not hearing what I'm saying. You're not hearing what. There is a reason why fuel in America is cheaper than it is in anywhere else. We love the Middle East. We're getting things out of that.
The reason your fuel is inexpensive as opposed to everywhere else is because you have deals with the oil companies. Your politicians have deals with the oil companies to keep those prices where they are and where they're not. And if they stop taking the corporate money and allowing the oil companies to booty rape this entire country, those prices will continue to spike. So depending on how much your politicians are being bribed, that's why your gas prices fluctuate.
So you don't think we're exploiting the Middle East in these wars at all? We're not getting anything out of it.
We are the #1 oil exporter in the entire world over the Middle East.
Yeah, but it's not refined oil. It's not refined oil.
The reason we don't use the oil we have here is because we can't refine it. Well, why can't we refine the oil that we have here? Because the oil companies are bribing your politicians, and the politicians will not make the oil companies to regulate them to get their equipment up to par so that they can use the oil coming out of the ground. But the thing is you claim to be liberal, and you seem to be on board with this drill, baby, drill bullshit, which is what liberals are supposed to be against. And Biden's drilling more and extracting more out of American soil than even Trump did. We're actually supposed to be against this. So what the fuck are we even talking about?
Well, first of all, I'm not a fan of drill baby drill. Where I'm disagreeing with you on, though, is your idea that if you give Americans free school, free housing, all this stuff, the country will stay a superpower and the dollar will be strong. I don't believe that. I think that...
So I give it to Israel instead, a country that already has Medicare for all, a country that already has the most doctors in the world because their educational system is amazing, a country that has a fair tax code, a country that doesn't have poor people all over every major city in their country. So, okay, if you're okay with that, then yeah, keep on.
I think it's a difference between... I think it's a difference between what I'm okay with and what I'm saying. I'm not okay with it. I would prefer what you're talking about. It would benefit me far more. However, I don't believe. Hold on, hang on. I don't believe that America would come out of it the way. First of all, the U.S. dollar, as you're talking about, is getting weaker under Biden. I think your plan would destroy it.
I think my plan would ensure that millions of people have food, clothing, and shelter and can go to work every day with a lot less worries and focus on being good at their job instead of wondering where their next meal is going to come from. That's what my plan is going to do. Your plan is status quo, which is resulting in a huge wealth gap, a fentanyl problem, an opioid problem, an unaliving children in school problem, a gun problem, a mental health problem, an obesity problem, a tax code problem, and a climate change problem, and I can keep going until you're lying.
Yeah, I don't know what I'm portraying that's got anything to do with fentanyl and guns. I mean, you're going way out with that.
You're talking about doing the status quo, right? Not providing people with the essentials that they need so that they don't have to worry as much about their lives. You want to continue on with these crumbs that the Democrats and Republicans can give you because they can't do actual policy that affects your life in a major way because that would piss off their donors. So you get things like the vaccine bill, right, that Trump did, which is really a gift to the pharmaceutical companies, right? Because they were going to make that fucking vaccine quick with AI, even if Trump hadn't given them a damn dime. Why were they going to do that? Because they made billions and billions and billions of dollars off of selling their vaccine.
Let me just get this clear. So based on the vision for this country, you do want to get rid of capitalism, right? I mean, because what you're talking about is anti-capitalism. You're talking about getting rid of that, right?
What I believe in is I believe you need to ride that line. I believe you need to ride a line between capitalism and socialism. You need to be able to admit to yourself that some things should be for profit and some things are just for the benefit of your society, right? Because you get to a point where capitalism becomes so great and so overwhelming that you end up with a few rich people with all the money and you end up with everybody else being poor. And that's when things like the French Revolution happened. Let them eat cake, guillotines, and all that shit. How do I know that that's the truth? Because that's what's happened to every major society all through history.
All right, Moo. A lot of folks agree with you, man. A lot of folks in the comments, according to them, you're kicking my ass. Hey, it's a pleasure having you do it. Come on back anytime. I do got to move it on, no, Moo. Appreciate it. Listen, this is how it works. You just see me have someone on. Total disagreement with what happened on January 6th. Now there's a progressive. This is how free speech works. A lot of folks thought that the January 6th guy was kicking my ass too, but they were mostly MAGA. This is how free speech works, though. You're going to hear comments you agree with, comments you disagree with. It's never been an echo chamber. That's how the program works. And I did see someone asking me, how can I call in and talk to this guy? That was on YouTube. By the way, folks, The Handsome Liberal is the channel. It's originating from TikTok. So for my YouTubers, you are hearing the audio from TikTok. Nevertheless, I do often respond to TikTok comments in kind, but the actual audio is coming from The Handsome Liberal. That is the profile on TikTok, and that's where you're hearing the callers coming in as well. Vote for Biden if you're gay, says Cookie Monster. I can co-sign that 100% because I don't think that there is any love for the LGBT community coming from the right. In fact, I think that they would start finding themselves either being ostracized or losing freedoms outright if Trump gets back in office. In fact, Trump has stated if he is reelected, he would ask Congress to require by law that you go by the gender you were born at on all government documents for the rest of your life. So if I'm born a male and they have to put male on my driver's license, on my taxes and everything else for the rest of my life, my ability to transition into a woman is gone. So the transgender portion is already gone. He's already promised to do that. So yeah, if you're LGBT and you're voting for Trump, you're probably voting against your best interest. I do agree with that. Born male, always a male, says Adam Nasir. And I do believe that is the representation of most MAGA, is that if you're born a girl, you're always a girl. If you're born a man, that eliminates the transgender community altogether. I'm trans and I'm perfectly fine with this, says Jess Jinx. I'd be hesitant to believe you're trans and you agree. Let's say, for instance, I'd be the ugliest ass woman you'd ever see. But let's say I did identify as a woman, went out, had the surgery and all. I'm dressed in female attire. I've had the surgery, so I'm anatomically looking like a woman. But all of my documents say male. You're transgender and you agree with that? There's no way in hell I would believe that you are transgender saying something like that. You can change the wrapper, but what's inside the package doesn't change it. I'm just simply saying if Trump is elected, the transgender community disappears. Now you're just a cross-dresser. That's about as much as you can do. You can dress like a woman, but it ceases to exist if Trump is elected. That's because we don't play childish games. Really? You climb to the top of the Capitol building and put up a Trump flag. You don't play childish games. All right, moving on with the program. Thank you, folks, for tapping the screen. Let me continue on with Body on Me Boutique. Asking the question is, can Biden restore his image after the debate on Thursday? Yes, because I will always be, my ability to trans into a woman is gone. Do you not hear how insane that sounds, brother? If you pull a leg off of I'm assuming you said a frog. If you pull a leg off a frog, it's still a damn frog. And listen, I'm not disagreeing with you technically. I'm just going to simply say, if I was commander-in-chief, I don't see the harm in letting someone transition. I'd like to see what because the stuff I'm hearing from the right is that if you let someone transition from a man to a woman, you don't hear it as much from a woman to a man. Let's just say men transition into females. Transgender women. According to the right, if you transition from a man to a woman, you suddenly become a pedophile and dangerous to kids. I don't see that. So yeah, if I was commander-in-chief, I would have no problem with women transitioning. I don't buy that if a man starts transitioning into a woman, they're going to go in children's bathrooms and try to abuse them or have drag queen shows and try to mess the kids up psychologically. This is the picture that the right paints, is that these folks are just going to start trying to do whatever they can to harm children. I don't see it. What are we going to say that Bruce Jenner, that's his whole goal? Once he transitioned, was to start harming kids? Because that's the way you paint it, is that everything they're doing is bad for children. I don't want you going in the other bathroom with my daughter because you're going to do something to her. Is there really that much of an incident of transgender folks abusing children? You know who does have a huge history of abusing children? The Catholic Church. Yet we have no problem forcing people to promote the Bible in schools and put up the 10 Commandments. There is an incredible amount more of children being abused by religion, Christianity, than the LGBT community. Substantially more. talking like square root multiples or exponents. We're talking like that. So the right sees the LGBT community as harmful to children, but it's okay to push Christianity on them. With the history of Christianity on kids, I don't get it. If you want to protect children, you probably should be anti-Catholic, anti-Lutheran, anti-Mormon. The history of abuse on that side is way more than the LGBT community could ever get. Going back to the box, Dencow, good afternoon, welcome to the program. Pedos and drugs, and that's another, is all LGBT members on drugs? What do you mean by pedos and drugs? Dencow, good afternoon.
Hey, what's happening?
Not much at all. Did Moo tear me a new one?
No, Moo just didn't kind of appreciate the pushback, which is a part of your program.
Right.
So, yeah.
But what about what he was promoting? Because a lot of folks in the comment section thought it was a good idea. Do you believe Americans should, as a right, receive housing, health care, all the way up to college education? Food? He mentioned food. All of this should be given to you by right. Do you agree with that?
No, that's a little bit too. Well, that's a lot too far for me personally. Because it takes us into a situation where we, right now we're kind of like a hybrid society. But what he's talking about is something that I don't think I've seen or ever heard of actually work in practice throughout history.
My response is, why go to work? If all of your essentials are covered, get a part-time job if you want a big screen TV, or every now and then when you want to take a vacation, go out and work for a few months. But why work a full-time job if all the essentials are covered?
Right. Those types of things work when you got a smaller society or community and everybody works for the greater good. That kind of thing works in that situation where if I grow the food and you're a doctor, we exchange goods and services and those types of things. But when you say the government provides everything and everybody else just goes out and kind of does what they want, I don't necessarily. That would be a huge experiment to try in America. I don't think that would.
My guess is a lot of the 1%, if we try something like this, would flee the country. I mean, they would take their money.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you think Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos and Bill Gates may be okay with it because he likes to give away a lot of money, but a lot of the 1%ers will get the hell up out of here.
They literally make their money off the backs of, the American workers. So they not down to just say, we're going to all contribute to a system that gives everybody a piece of the pie. No, they need that cheap labor.
I can tell you myself personally, I used to deliver freight. I was an expediter, so I did it in a Sprinter van. I didn't do it in a semi. And we live in the vehicles when we were carrying between 1 and 6 kids. And I was comfortable. I had a big screen TV, microwave, everything you could need for like a studio apartment in my van. If I could get all of those things covered that Moose said, I actually could live comfortable off that. I don't need a lot of, I have a lot of clothes and shit like that, but I don't need that stuff. I mean, if you could make it so that all my essentials are covered, I might only work part-time every now and then.
Yeah, and actually doing what he was suggesting would kind of go against like the whole idea of, American society, that you can go as far as your talents take you.
Yeah.
If you're saying everybody's going to go ahead and get a piece of pie, like you said, where's the motivation then?
Right. At the end of the day, somebody has to be paying in to make what he was stating work, and they got to be paying in a lot. And if you got folks like me, I'm not going to be paying in shit to make it work. And I'm going to assume there will be hundreds, if not thousands, if not millions of people like me, like, hey, this sounds great.
Like millions, because that would mean all of the people that are on welfare now would just basically be given a right.
Right. Yeah.
Just not do nothing and get even more.
Yeah. Well, a lot of folks in the comments was really agreeing with me. I'm like, yeah, it sounds great, but just like when Trump was promising the wall and the drain every swamp creature in Washington, it sounds great until you actually try to do it. And that's what Obama told Trump. I would say what Moo is promising, it might sound good, But wait till you try to do it. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, I mean that's yeah. I mean it is what it is. I mean I'm not going to put down his idea of what might be a better society, but I have to look at the practical application. Like how would that work? And I just don't see it working because there's too many different factions that depend on that money he's talking about. Right. That's not just going to let it go.
Yeah, I can't see how that would happen. I want you to listen to this. This came from Ryan Sharkley. Thank you for the kind super chat there on YouTube, Ryan. He says, I survived a Southern Baptist family I was adopted into. And he says, can we talk about Oklahoma's agenda, what their agenda is with Bibles in school? Now, we did have a show on it, but he said, like I said, I survived, with that in bold letters. He survived a Christian fundamentalist. Never again. How do you feel about that? You know, literally forcing Christianity, because they passed a law where in Oklahoma, all of the schools, every school in Oklahoma now has to have teaching the Bible as part of the curriculum. So I assume, let's say you're in first grade or you're in third or fourth grade and you don't get your lessons right, you failed a test on the Bible, I guess they can hold you back a grade.
Yeah, that's really scary, and it doesn't matter what side it's coming from. But if I were to try to put myself in, say, a MAGA situation, and right now I'm running around happy because I feel like I'm winning. The Supreme Court is kind of ruling on our side, or on Trump's side on everything. You've got all of these people coming out of the woodwork talking about Agenda 20, Project 25, Agenda 47,
yeah.
Like. That would be scary because at the end of the day, they can't just direct that stuff at certain people. It sounds good when they say, oh, we owning the libs. But when those things start affecting them, it's not going to be funny anymore.
Yeah, it's crazy you say that because we've mentioned, folks that lean right, that were Christian and all of, like we mentioned one woman who was married to a guy that was in the country illegal. She voted for the right, and all of a sudden her husband gets deported. She's like, well, damn, I didn't think they were talking about my guy. He doesn't commit any crimes. He's not a rapist and murderer. Bring my husband back. He's gone. Just like Kate Cox, the abortion, the woman who wanted to have an abortion in Texas because her child had a chromosome disorder with 95% chance that he wasn't going to make it and her own life was in danger. And she said, I voted for Trump. So it is a lot of folks that are voting for some of the right-wing policies that think this stuff is meant for them people over there. And then all of a sudden when it starts happening to them, they're like, damn, this sucks.
Right. They're saying they're saying it as if like only liberals get abortions. Like that's ridiculous. And it sounds good, like I said, when they're saying these things and it's talking about that those people over there. We're owning those people over there. I mean, the people running around talking about, oh, how people can barely afford this and that. But when we look around the country, we see so many people prospering right now. Stock market at record highs. Not everybody's involved in the stock market, but that's a big part of America's middle class wealth is in the stock market. People saying that they, that things are so bad. It's just, I was just my wife went on a trip the other day. I mean, airports full to the tilt.
Yeah.
People on the road. People running around complaining about McDonald's and the $14 Happy Meal. Why they steal? They didn't say they didn't buy the Happy Meal. They just complained about it.
Yeah, I will say that, there is no doubt that things cost a bit more under Biden's administration, but I agree with you. It ain't like Americans are losing weight or eating their damn dog because they can't afford food. Like you mentioned, Memorial Day was the most traveled holiday in American history. The second most traveled day, I believe, was the day they came back from Memorial Day. So people are moving around and spending money on non-essentials. I brought up how many folks did not hear any fireworks yesterday? I mean, at the end of the day, if you're really struggling under the Bidenomics, you don't go out and buy non-essential items like fireworks. If you're really hurting for cash, you don't pop your money in the damn air. Yet there was no shortage of people using fireworks.
Look, those fireworks stands had a line down the street.
Yeah. So, yeah, I do believe they're overstating it on the economy. But then, Cal, so I don't think you and I disagreed on much at all. But I appreciate you coming on and holding, man. Thank you.
All right.
All right, move the program on real quick. Now, see on the YouTube side, I let me just make this clear for my YouTubers, and I do appreciate you folks supporting, tuning in daily, even though you may not agree with a damn thing that I say, but I appreciate your opinions as well, because I am about free speech. I'm trying my damnedest to find a way where I can engage with you folks as well in terms of from a caller standpoint. I don't know how to do it from a mobile aspect. I see a lot of you folks often want that. Right now, I only know how to do it from TikTok. If I could figure it out on YouTube, where it didn't cost a fortune, because like I say all the time, I get hundreds, if not a few thousand folks that tune in every day, and only less than 1% of the viewers support the show. So I would love to do it, but if it costs money, that's a different argument. There's just not enough support for that. But looking in the comments, the Bible says Satan tricks. The Bible says Satan tricks and is evil people, but it's God who demands blood sacrifices and kills people for not believing. That's an interesting point. Is that the Bible says it's Satan that's tricking and doing all the evil, but God is the one promising to kill you and send you to hell and do all kinds of bad things to you. There is some validity to that. And I see some of you folks who favor forcing Christianity on children, saying it's a historical document. I just, to me, I thought school was about preparing children to be viable members of society, give them a well-rounded education and let them, help them make their decision on what they want to do. I don't see where the Bible is necessary in that. And the reason I don't see, I'm not a fan of the Bible being forced down children's throats in schools is because the Bible, in my opinion, this is where I may get a little bit of pushback from my beloved MAGA. No problem with that. Whoa, I'm assuming this is a lie. So I'm going to go ahead and spam it because somebody's typing, or better yet, cancel it. Somebody's saying Elon Musk passed away. So I'm assuming that's not true. And they're typing it in the comments a whole bunch of times. So they're spamming. So I gotta block that. I hate blocking folks, but if you're going to say whatever the hell you want to say, but there's no reason to say it 1,000 times. And somebody is doing it. Elon Musk has not passed away. So, I mean, not only are they spamming, but they're lying in the process. So moving the program on, I don't kind of forgot my train of thought when that person put that lie in there like that. Oh, forcing the Bible on students. My humble opinion is that the Bible is about supremacy. I'm not necessarily saying white supremacy. Some people may even go with that, but it's about supremacy. My religion is better than your religion. The Bible teaches, thou shalt have no other God before me. I'm the one and true only God. I think there's passages all over the Bible alluding to this is the best and only religion there is. All the rest of them are fake or they are less than compared to Christianity. I believe that deliberately promoting that in schools is wrong. Because if you have Muslim children, you have Jehovah's Witnesses, and I see somebody in the comments said Jesus is king. That's what we're talking about. So now the kids are all laughing at the Muslim child or the Jehovah's Witness. Your God ain't real. My God is real. See, it's right here in the book that we're learning. They're not teaching your book. Why is that? I could debate, even when I was in 3rd or 4th grade, I would trash any kid based on that. Look, they're teaching my book because it's real. You notice your book ain't in here. I don't care about Jehovah. The whole public school system shows that Jehovah ain't real. They're teaching about God. So what does that kid have to do? Go home and tell his parents, I don't want to go to church, or I don't want to go to whatever they call it. I think the Jehovah's Witnesses call it a meeting. I don't want to go to the mosque. I don't want to go on Sunday. This is all fake. I mean, this is what could happen by putting this in schools. Is that the Christian children can look at the other children and say, obviously your religion is fake because they're only teaching ours. We don't even cover your religions. Now, somebody stated the Bible is a historical document. Isn't the Quran a historical document as well? We're not teaching the Bible in schools because it's a historical document. We're promoting the Bible because we believe it is a Christian country and we are pro-Christianity. Otherwise, you would have to teach all of those other historical documents from other religions. And you're not doing that. So it's not about teaching historical documents. It's about promoting Christianity and simply lying and saying other things. The Quran has been around for a long ass time. Millions of people, millions of people, if not billions, but tens of millions of people receive their teachings from the Quran. Is that not a historical document? No, it's irrelevant. I'm Christian. So yeah, to me, I think that you're really, and not to mention all of the things that the Bible tells you, that is also a sin. I mean, I suppose any LGBT child, now that you're reading from the Bible, can also feel less than. Aren't they going to hell according to the Bible? What else is in there? So I just don't think that this really should be in schools. It will really put children against each other. Keep in mind, there's probably very little on earth that has sparked more wars and bloodshed than religion. So now you're going to put it around kids too, huh? Religion works when everybody thinks the same. If you go to a small suburban or rural town, middle of Wyoming somewhere, yeah, you can teach Christianity. All of their families are Christian. They all think alike. Most likely they all vote for the same party. You can do it there. But in diverse environments, middle of Cleveland, Chicago, Houston somewhere, it doesn't work. There's too many people that believe in other stuff. Keep it in areas where everybody thinks the same as you. That's why people say, well, liberal cities are violent and Republicans are, yeah, because in Republican areas, everybody looks and sounds the same. They all believe the same stuff. It's easy to get along when we all agree on every damn thing. That doesn't work in liberal areas. Going back to the box, tap the screen, get the likes up to around 70,000. We can certainly make that happen. Bible is also alive and for training in righteousness, not for pedos to put pornography in schools. The Bible talks about all this stuff. I mean, talking about Sodom and Gomorrah and all that stuff and slavery, all that stuff's in the Bible. I don't know if all that's for righteousness. I don't, women shouldn't work on the Sabbath day. I don't know if that's righteousness. I think you're picking and choosing what parts of it you want to mean righteousness. My 3 kids, good afternoon. When you are raised right, you know right from wrong. Yeah, you don't need to be raised a Christian to not know right. Christianity doesn't make you know right from wrong. You can raise a child to know right from wrong as an atheist. Christianity is not necessary to create morally responsible human beings. It's just not. By the way, as I pointed out, the Catholic Church, the Mormon Church, the Lutheran Church, they're all raised Christian. And look at all of the immorality that came out of those religions. I mean, I don't know where the idea that Christianity and morality is. No, I just vehemently disagree. Looking in the comments, no, not morality. It's not. No, it's not. The further back in history you go, and I'm trying to bring up guests, not to talk your ear off, but the box is playing games real quick. We'll keep trying, but the further back in U.S. history you go, in this country, the further back you go, the more religious America was. I mean, right now in 2024, there's very few kids are in church on Sundays. I mean, we're not a very religious country in 2024. We were in 1924, and we really were in 1824. You're going to tell me in 1824, America was doing what was morally right more than 2024? If you say yes, it kind of alludes to what kind of person you are. I mean, you got, for the most part, all of the minority population was enslaved, oppressed, or something else going on. And those folks were deeply devoted Christians back then. Even the slave masters went to church every Sunday. Where's the morality part at? If you're Christian, you're going to be brought up on morals. No, they're not. The history of it shows they're not. All of the stuff that was going on during the dawn of this nation, those are all Christians. All of the Native Americans being wiped out, murdered and raped, those folks were Christians that was doing that stuff. So where's the morality part? You picking and choosing when morality is real? And I see in the comments, Bev Yvette says, what is your message? The message is simple. The idea that Christianity guarantees morality goes against history. Goes against what the actual founding fathers, who are all Christian, were doing. It goes against reality. That's the message. Bro, because slavery was legal. Yeah, damn right slavery was legal. It was legalized by a bunch of Christians. Yeah, it was legal. Who do you think made it legal? A bunch of Christians legalized it. Right, because they were making money off of it. Slavery was a system that many wanted to abolish for a long time, way before it happened. Yeah, but there were also many that wanted to keep it. I mean, keep in mind we had a civil war. It wasn't like the Confederates were fighting to end slavery. You can say they were fighting for whatever reason you want to say they were fighting for. But there is no documented history to suggest their goal was to end slavery. And even after slavery ended, you got to look at what took place in the Confederate South. They went straight from slavery to sharecropping and Jim Crow laws. They were Christians. They were all Christians down there doing that stuff. What happened to morality? Treating people like that? What happened to morality? And by the way, the Jim Crow laws, unlike slavery where it cost money to own a slave, the Jim Crow laws, a lot more people participated in that because it didn't cost any money to do that. So yeah, I don't see the morality play in it. I just don't. I mean, if you want to talk about a historical document, understand when you start talking history, you're going to have students like me that are going to bring up history. And this is the kind of stuff that's going to come out of it. I mean, slavery is in the Bible. If you want kids to get past history, this is going to bring it up. Unless, like I said, you want to dictate what they can and can't say. I want you to read the Bible, but I only want to talk about the good parts. That may be the goal. All right, going back to the box. Thank you for the subscription, Sean LaFollette on YouTube. By the way, this is uncensored dialogue. I'm bloviating a bit right now because the box is making it difficult to bring up guests. Nevertheless, we believe in an uncensored format. So we go left of Bernie Sanders, so I'm having dinner with QAnon. Everybody gets to speak. You don't have to agree with anybody in the comment section, up to and including the host. It's about free speech here, and we don't talk down to guests. The program is always will be MAGA friendly. If you enjoy that type of dialogue, this type of format, follow the program on TikTok or subscription on YouTube, if you will. Monday through Friday is when we're here, 1,300 hours, weekdays, Monday through Friday. Going back to the box, so try it again. Been having some serious trouble making this happen. Keep it simple. Good afternoon. Welcome to the program. Can I get a shout out? Curly. There you go. Are you advocating slavery because it's in the Bible? Damn it, I'm not. I'm not advocating forcing the Bible on students. I don't believe forcing religion down the throats of children is good for children. I just don't. I know a lot of Christians disagree. They believe it's going to make children into very responsible adults. I don't see the history of it. Keep it simple. Good afternoon.
How are you doing today, Tim?
I'm doing good. I guess I'd ask you, what am I getting wrong here?
I don't know.
Uncensored. Feel free to correct me.
No, you're good. I think that there should be a separation of religion and church and state, but I think that there's a fine line where it's not totally just promoting atheism too.
Well, how about promoting nothing at all? You don't have to tell children to hate God, but you don't have to tell the children to love him either.
Well, I think that a lot of Christians feel that promoting nothing at all puts them on the back burner, whether that's right or not.
Yeah,
but
I believe that.
It's hard to. It's one of those subjects that is hard to nail down.
So, Oklahoma forcing children to learn the Bible as part of their curriculum. Do you support that?
If the majority of the state,
every school in the state has to do it.
I mean, then that's a state level matter, not necessarily a national matter.
Okay, if it happened in your state, would you support it?
I don't know. I don't live in Oklahoma. I live in Texas.
Right. If it happened in, well, shit, it's, you gonna probably have to answer this question pretty soon.
Yeah, it's probably true.
Yeah. Would you?
But then again, like I said, if it was the majority of the state said, yeah, I don't think the majority of the state in Texas is going to say that. So I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal.
I disagree. I mean, well, first of all, when you say majority of the state in Texas wouldn't support it, so you don't think it's a big of a deal, I think you're making a mistake of assuming they're going to put it up for a vote. I mean, your abortion laws were forced down on the women in your state, whether they agree with it or not. They didn't get to vote on it. It just happened. Oklahoma did not vote to make the Bible mandatory in schools. They just did that.
They just passed it without a vote in their Congress or their government or however they did it.
Right.
Well, that's not right to do that with anything.
Yeah. Well, I'm telling you,
regardless of what the background is, you know what I mean?
Well, and that's what I'm telling you. Your state, Texas, obviously you border Oklahoma. You guys your mindsets are very similar on a lot of issues. In Texas, I mean, they already passed abortion laws without the input of the people. I don't see most Texans really being that outraged if they did the same thing with the Bible. I think they could easily get that same law on the books in Texas, and I would be. If Trump wins, that's guaranteed to happen in your state. I'll just say it that way. If Trump is reelected, your state is guaranteed to follow Oklahoma. It'll be challenged. They may lose, but I absolutely believe Texas will follow in Oklahoma's footsteps with this.
Well, let's put it this way on the abortion topic in Texas. When it was legal and there was no issues with it, I would see protests all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But I haven't seen any protests to reinstate it.
You haven't. Well, just because you ain't seen it don't mean it ain't happening. I'm not in Texas, so you got the upper hand on this. But my guess is it probably wouldn't be hard to go on Google or YouTube or Bing or something and find proof that they are protesting your abortion laws in Texas. You just haven't seen it. I'm sure that's happening.
Well, that's a possibility too. Yeah. It is a big state.
Yeah. Well, you probably don't live in
Dallas, because that's where I've lived for the last 45 years.
Okay.
So I did see a lot of protests in Dallas. Dallas is primarily a left-leaning city.
Yeah. Well, most big cities are. I mean, if the fact is the right doesn't do well with diversity. I mean, that's why I said in right-wing areas you could easily promote Christianity because most right-wingers are Christian. You're not going to have all of the back and forth. But when you put diverse environments together, you're going to have people who believe in a lot of things and people who believe in nothing. Those areas don't tend to be Republican. I mean, Republicans and diversity don't go together very well. Top 50 cities in America, only 9 of them are Republican. You notice why you always hear about liberal cities and you don't hear Republican cities as a counter because there really is none that are really big like that. I think your city switched. Why do you
think that the larger populations of more densely populated places are Democrat?
Diversity. I've said this before. You're a Republican politician's job is significantly easier than a liberal's job is as a politician. Simply put, Republicans, for the most part, and I'm not trying to bring race in it, but they mostly cater to the mindset of white males. They don't give a damn about LGBT and Muslims and feminists. And if you're a liberal, you got to be concerned with all those groups. If you are a right-wing politician, for the most part, your base is predominantly white, predominantly male. If you cater to that group, you're likely to win. As a liberal, you can't just do that. You got to cater to all these other people. So it's much harder as a liberal politician because now what a feminist says matters, what the Muslim group says, you care about Hispanics, what they say matters. On the right, hey, fuck off. We're Christian. We're straight. I mean, you don't really give as much play to those groups.
Well, that's why I think that we need a middle party.
I don't disagree with that. I don't disagree with that.
Yeah, I think we need a middle party because you are correct. You say a lot of good things about the Democratic Party, Of course, I can go through and find all the bad things about the Democratic Party.
There's plenty.
Party.
Yeah, I don't believe the Democratic Party is perfect.
Yeah, and you can do the same thing with the Republican Party. Go all the way down, and then you get both of the candidates, and you go all the way down.
Right. And
you can see good stuff, and you can see bad stuff. But I'll be honest with you, on both sides, I think the bad stuff outweighs the good stuff.
Yeah, and I will respond to Ali on YouTube says tons of non-white folks in the Republican Party. Yeah, but the disparity of whites to non-white folks in the Republican Party compared to the Democratic Party, you should get the point I'm making. Yeah, there's going to be always folks who favor other things that may vote Republican, may vote independent, but at the end of the day, if you go to a Republican gathering, it's not very diverse. And I've been to a couple Trump rallies, I've been to other Republican gatherings. Compared to a liberal or Democratic gathering, it's night and day.
So we need a human race party.
Well, the only issue is you got to be concerned with issues of other people. Like, for instance, let's say African Americans. If you put 10,000 African Americans in a room, town hall style, said, I want you guys collectively to come up with 10 issues that are concerning the African American community. You got 10,000 people. I want you guys to come up with 10 issues and hand it to me on a sheet of paper. I would be fair to say, I believe that the Republican Party is going to be on the other side of most of those issues. Most of the stuff that group would raise as an issue that they believe is affecting the black community, the Republican Party is either going to believe that issue does not exist, it's not a major problem, or something of that nature. So as a result, you're not going to get as many African Americans voting for the right side of the party. Now, African Americans that do vote right, they're not concerned with those issues. Maybe they're voting for something else that the right does represent, like Christianity or something like that. But the overwhelming majority of African Americans, the issues they believe that are affecting their people, the right are on the other side of those issues.
Well, and I also think that we as people should be working on that together more than asking the government to do it. Because if we can do it more efficiently than the government can anyway.
Yeah, but you got to vote for somebody, but you still got to vote for the government. I agree with you, self-reliance, but you still got to vote for somebody in government at the end of the day.
Man, we're stuck with the same dilemma.
Fair enough. All right, I got to move it on. Keep it simple. Love the name, by the way. Appreciate you coming back.
Yeah, no problem, Tim. Appreciate it.
Anytime. By the way, folks, I get this every time from my YouTube audience. I got 2 different cameras. So your eyes look crazy as hell because I'm looking in different directions. That's why you see the eyes look like they're all over the damn place. When I'm looking here, I'm looking at YouTube. When I'm looking here, I'm looking at TikTok. I'm on multiple devices. I believe there's a way to host a program where all of it's being done through one camera, but I'm not as tech savvy enough to figure that out just yet. And I understand, like I said, maybe in the future. We have to stop with 2020 propaganda that Republicans are racist, says Dave G. Comedy. I don't think that's going to happen because Republicans are saying liberals are racist. I mean, everybody's throwing the racist word around. It's not, the Democrats do it far, far more than Republicans. How many Republicans I talk to that bring up the crime bill or vote for me and you ain't black? Almost every damn broadcast. So it's not like the right ain't doing it too. I don't think you're going to stop it, but I agree with you. Might be better off if we did. I believe there is a way for black people to shut the fuck up about race. That came from Light Free. Says, I believe there is a way for black people to shut the fuck up about race. I do too, but that ain't gonna solve anything. You can shutting the fuck up about any atrocity or any misgiving is not going to end the misgiving. I think, in fact, if I'm mistreating you, it's in my best interest if you don't say nothing about it. I mean, isn't that how the Catholic Church was able to do what they did for so long? Is to keep people from speaking out about it. If you got a priest that everybody is accusing of abusing their child, well, move that priest to Minneapolis. Get him out of town. I mean, silence never helps an atrocity go away. So when you have somebody like Morgan Freeman, best way to get rid of racism is to stop talking about it. That's the dumbest answer I've ever heard, and I believe he's actually retracted that. Do you think any issue we've ever had in the past, women's suffrage, slavery, Jim Crow, any group that's being oppressed, you think it's going to go away without them talking about it? The idea that you should stop talking about something that'll go away is ignorant. Tim, serious question. When you went to the Trump rally, how did MAGA treat you? Mikey L, very nice. Very nice. I got interviewed. There are a few YouTube videos of me out there somewhere, little smaller conservative outlets. I mean, listen, I'm 6'6", 300 pounds and black as hell. I'm a stand out at a Trump rally. And I did. People walked up to me, wanted to see, was I a liberal in hiding? I know how to talk. So we had a good time. I mean, the folks that were there, they were really nice to me. And as I said, I don't hate Trump. I'm afraid of some of the things he's promising, but I think that if he wasn't so bombastic with the tweets and insults, he'd be enjoying the conclusion of his second term. I just think he likes to insult people, and he doesn't believe that should have consequences. And I don't know any of us that could enjoy the privilege of free speech without consequences. I believe in free speech here. We sometimes get canceled for it. I mean, that's how it works. Free speech is fine, but it comes with consequences. A lot of my beloved MAGA believes that Trump should be able to say anything he wants about anybody with no consequence. I don't believe that's realistic. Looking in the comments, though, fear-mongering will do that. Yeah, but I don't know where you're referring. Who's doing the fear-mongering? Biden don't believe in free speech. How can Biden have dementia and not know where he's at, but then be in control of all of the forms of government when you need to point to that? Either he's out of his mind or he's not. If he's a bumbling old man that don't know where he's at, then he's not focused on free speech. How do you feel about the immunity ruling? Did I miss that? The immunity ruling was pro-Trump, Alexander A. The immunity ruling was pro-Trump, and I do believe in the future, whether we have a far-right government or a far-left government, they're going to probably pass a law that prevents presidents in the future from enjoying it, because it opens up the door to somebody being really bad. The system is already operating on kind of like an honor system basis, but because Trump pushed the envelope in so many different areas, people now know that if you get in there, there is some loopholes for you to do some really evil shit. Is it going to happen in our lifetime? I'm not saying that, but people do know that now. Trump is exposed. Remember, Trump promised to expose every damn thing. He exposed that the honor system in America is not a good idea. He has really exposed that. You know, the idea that you could run while incarcerated. You think the founding fathers ever intended to have a president that could run the office while incarcerated? Now, Trump's not going to be incarcerated. I'm not saying that Trump is going to jail or any of that shit. But he did expose that you can run the damn country from behind bars. Nobody even thought about that until Trump came along and exposed that to people. So I do believe that, yeah, Trump pushed the envelope or exposed weaknesses in a way that they're going to have to pass some laws to close off those avenues. You can pardon yourself for committing a crime while you're in office. He may never need to do that, but he has exposed the fact that you can actually do that. You can have multiple felonies or be up on indictment for multiple felonies that might even include treasonous crimes and still become president. Now, maybe history will show Trump did not commit any treasonous crimes, but once again, as I stated, he has exposed that a president can do that. Founding fathers never intended for that to happen. So yeah, I do believe that once Trump is out of the picture, they're going to close a lot of those loopholes off. So that, I mean, because right now he's exposed the fact that a real madman could come in and lead this country. He has made it clear that somebody who has some really bad intentions can actually rise to power and do a lot of bad stuff because of the loopholes he's shown us that are there. Felonies, incarcerated, being indicted, a person can actually run for office like that. Now, I know a lot of folks believe that, well, Trump hasn't done anything wrong and it's a witch hunt. Okay, but what about the guy who has done things wrong? And it's not a witch hunt. The loopholes are open for him too. Trump has shown that the guy you may think is genuinely bad can run for office now. So, yeah, that stuff has to be closed. And I do believe Biden has done it to a lesser degree in regards to showing that it probably should be mandatory that presidents take a cognitive exam. I think everybody in America damn near believes that folks are overstating Biden's state of conscience. Yeah, we trust his advisors and the people around him won't let him get to it right. Fine. But even most Biden supporters are openly admitting he probably won't serve a full term, which in itself is kind of sad to some degree. Now, if Biden beats Trump, it really shows Trump must really be fucking bad. But the idea that folks are willing to vote for Biden while admitting I don't think he can make it shows, yeah, that's once again something that needs to be closed in the future. I mean, you know right now while you're casting the ballot, this dude can't make it. Yeah, but the other guy scares me. That needs to be addressed. So I do believe that Biden has exposed America's need to pass a law requiring cognitive exams. Another one is a side note. I don't know if it'll ever go through, but I think it should go through. I think anybody running for the nation's highest office should have to show their taxes. Trump didn't show his taxes. A lot of people didn't care, but I do believe if you're running to head this country, we need to know what you've been doing financially for the last few years. And after you leave office, we should know. And that shouldn't just apply to the president, Congress, Senate, because a lot of these folks do things behind the scenes, and then once they step down or get voted out, they start receiving rewards from it. So all of a sudden you find out somebody passed a controversial law, and now they're in the free market, and the company they passed that law to benefit is all of a sudden paying them tons of money. You think that there may not have been a fix? I think that, yeah, your taxes should be required to show them. And Trump has exposed that you don't. Everybody else on the honor system was just doing it. Trump came along and said, no, I'm not even going to show you. So anyhow, folks, appreciate you tuning in as usual, Monday through Friday, 1 p.m. Central. Trump made billions at all those tax breaks he implemented for the rich. Trump paid only $750 because of those loopholes, etc. Wow. Red Hammer, you raise a good point, because a lot of MAGA often cite, well, Trump didn't take a salary, and that shows how great he was. Yeah, if you're passing permanent tax breaks for the rich, and you are rich, yeah, his tax breaks saved him a hell of a lot more than the $2 million he would have earned in 4 years of running the White House. Yeah, he passed a law to get all of his salary that he donated. He passed a law to get it all back. That's probably true. Today's my dog's birthday. Happy birthday, Arf. Trump, Epstein texts out public Trump and a 13-year-old. It's too late for that. I don't think folks on the right care about that. Military folks are suckers, Trump said. I don't think they care about that either. They can deal with the insider trading that goes on. All right. So it is what it is, folks. I do appreciate you tuning in. Follow the program on TikTok, a subscription on YouTube, if you will. Uncensored Dialogue. Weekdays, Monday through Friday. It's your boy Tim, the handsome liberal. Real quick on YouTube. What did I say? I just wanted to read it. The only thing is that he lost in 2020 for a reason. Well, a lot of people don't believe Trump lost it all. I don't submit to that, but a lot of people do. We all saw with our two eyes that Biden is totally incompetent. Mark, I think most Americans, well, I don't know about incompetent, but they don't believe he is completely, I guess you could say incompetent probably isn't a bad term, because he's there sometimes and then other times he's not. I'll leave it at that. But unfortunately, Trump is promoting a radical America to people on the left. This is why we've been saying for the longest that Nikki Haley would have trounced Biden, because she is closer to center. Trump is far right at this point. Bibles being forced in schools and the abortion bans that are spreading around the country. Trump is promoting the far right agenda. So people are going to be willing to vote more for a vegetable than somebody on the far right. Just like by the way, folks who are saying it's dumb or sad to vote for Biden because of his cognitive state, you wouldn't vote for AOC if Trump was barely able to complete a sentence. You're not going to vote for that. So it is what it is. You come in with a far right agenda. You wouldn't vote for a far left agenda under any circumstance. I don't care how alert the far left politician was. You're not going to do it either. It just happened to be on the other side. It's your boy Tim, the handsome liberal. Catch you later.